Okay, so putting it all together, that's where we're at now. We're looking at the unpacking handout that we have here and transferring it and developing it a little bit more using a great tool that I had when I was going through the UBD process way back in 2004, 2005, in my first couple of years of teaching. I held on to this because, well, it rocks. And it was the first real concept of how to develop a lesson that I thought made sense because it seemed like it was just going nowhere, and this helped me. So uh, I modified some things a little bit, at least the ideas of it, to really kind of fit together. So we have this original handout, which we talked about in a previous video, where we have the anchor standard, essential skills, overarching ideas, and essential questions. Well, where do we go with that? That's all good. We've unpacked the standard. We make sense of it. Well, now we have to apply it to UBD. So what we have here, we have the content standard. So you can see some of these things are a little overlapping. Anchor standard, content standard, understanding goals, that's essential skills. You have your essential questions here and your outcomes. This part kind of moves into other things. So how do we do this? All right, so here's my example here. If you take a look at this, I took the concept of this development, and you see, all right, content standard. Here's my my Common Core standard. I put it right here. Understanding and overarching ideas. Students will understand that writers don't always say things directly or literally. Sometimes they convey their ideas indirectly. So I plugged in this idea here, overarching ideas. That's what we want to do right here. So what are our essential questions? Well, what is the text really about? How do we read between the lines? And what are my outcomes? What students should be able to do. Students should be able to use specific details to point out the theme or central ideas, use inferred ideas to support concepts and ideas. And then I left this one here. I didn't develop it, I left it in here because I want you to see that stage 3, when we're learning to plan, these things kind of go together. It says must be designed and directly linked to having students be able to achieve understanding. So your lesson planning and your student objectives, outcomes, should overlap. The lesson should get to the objectives. Okay. So then we have the performance task, comparative reading between scholarly writing and their own evidence. This would be what they would be doing in my class. Right? What are we going to do? Well, these are the major assessments that we're going to do. Collaborative discussion and sharing on supporting evidence. This is an activity that we can do. And then we have other evidence. Now these are those formative, summative concepts here. You can do anything else. You have pre-assessment. You could be individual or group-based. These are all like the other activities that are going to be the assessment of it, where this is the action of it. So I put evidence-based formative assessments that collects textual evidence and inferred ideas. Fancy way of saying it could be any kind of handout that allows them to collect evidence and to share out. And when they share out, they'll do a group-based discussion and maybe write a reflection on Edmodo. And then I have yet to actually develop the lesson plan here, the learning activities. I just wanted to go through the concept of taking you through the content standards and then going all the way to the assessments here. The end product here, the fine learning, this is something that takes some time. You got to figure out where you're going with your plan, but for the sake of the development of this assignment or this website, I just really want to look at, my standards, the questions, the overarching ideas, and what kind of assessments are going to get me there. The fine-tuning, that takes a little bit more time. The concept of all of this is just getting to the assessment. And I think if you have a department, if you can do all that and you get to the assessments and you have common assessments, you're winning the battle. You're doing great things with Common Core.